In the Gulf, where 51 days in, the oil is still gushing, BP is still grasping for answers, and residents are still coping with a massive cleanup and bruising economic costs. But people are not the only ones who call the now polluted waters home, and for the indigenous animals there, countless birds and wildlife, the stakes are high, life or death, and time is running low, as Yunji Denise now reports.
David Hayden is on a rescue mission, searching for the spill's most vulnerable victims. Fighting through mangroves, in heat hovering at 100 degrees, as angry birds try to fend him off. He still gets the job done, capturing 3 oiled brown pelicans. Such a fragile species that they were just taken off the endangered list last year.
Those 3 are the most heavily oiled on the island. They need to be saved.
But for every one he saves, there are 10 more he'll never reach. On just this 3-acre parcel, there are more than 15,000 birds, but most of them are in the middle of the island.
There's plenty on the inside, yeah, but they might not be as old. There's no way of telling.
He can't get the canoe in there because the mangroves are too thick, and if he were to walk in too far, he could step on eggs and chicks and disrupt a nesting ground already threatened with destruction. Oil is now washing over these tiny islands. The boom deployed here is too small to keep it out.
It's the best tool we currently have that's been supplied to us, but for this location, that is not sufficient.
What tools do you need?
This site really needs the larger Navy booms. That would protect this much better.
Once the birds are collected, they move quickly to get them in for cleaning. Next stop,
104.1, you got it.
Bird ER.
I liken it to being a pediatrician, as our patients don't understand what's happening. They're scared out of their minds, and they're going to fight back.
30 oil-soaked pelicans have just arrived.
These guys are still pretty little.
Including this crate of babies, their brand new feathers already tainted.
Yesterday was the first day we started receiving babies, so the oil must have either hit, it looks like it actually hit one of the nesting colonies because the birds have it on the underside as well.
Doing triage, Dr. Erica Miller, a veteran of oil spill disasters.
You've worked a lot of these incidents. How does this compare to some of the spills that you've worked with before?
For me personally, there's like no real comparison. We're working really long days under not exactly prime conditions. We're working in a warehouse in the heat.
Dr. Miller and the rest of the team are working 12-hour shifts in a warehouse that smells like pelicans and the fish they eat for breakfast. Sardine smoothie, anyone? It's unbearably hot in here, and it gets even sweatier once you suit up in gear to keep the oil off your skin. We caught up with volunteer Bart Siegel as he took a breather.
It's hot in here, the days are long, the work is hard. What keeps you going?
The need to save these animals. And they come in 50, 60, 75 a day. In the middle of the night, we unload helicopters. It's no easy chore, but somebody's got to do it.
Bart, a Louisianan, says he came down here because he got tired of screaming at the television every time he saw images of the spill.
When you're standing there and you're watching those animals, what's going through your mind?
It's like David and Goliath. Goliath's out there and David's in here, and we got a hard task to do. It's like a mass unit, and you learn on the job, and you learn fast. You just can't let these birds die. Can't let them die.
An exam with Dr. Miller is the first stop on the road to survival.
They've got some oil on their bellies. Something hit him. Maybe there was a tar ball.
And naturally, can that come off? I mean, do they need you to get that off?
There's no way that's going to get clean.
She is part doctor, part detective, snapping an official photo of each bird for evidence.
So we want something from this bird that actually has a little bit of oil on it that can represent this bird and what contaminant it was on.
So is this the link back to BP?
We have been in spills where we have had a known spiller and we've been cleaning up, and suddenly you look at it and you go, this oil looks different than the last few birds that came in. People say there's 8 billion gallons of oil out there. I can flush my bilge tank now and it's not going to make a difference.
From here, the birds are moved into one of these crates where they rest and rehydrate. Then it's off to BART station for a canola oil bath. The light oil helps loosen the heavy sludge.
He's feisty. He's a feisty bird.
Now, it takes two of you actually to hold him.
One to hold and one to work the feathers.
From there, it's a wash, a blow dry, and back to nature, sort of. They'll hang poolside for the next week.
So this is sort of the recovery room.
Yeah, and it's almost like the outpatient therapy before they are fully on their own.
When they're ready, they're tagged and then driven or flown over to the east coast of Florida, as far away from the oil spill as they can get them.
And how can you be sure that these birds won't just fly right back to the spill?
Well, there are no guarantees, that's for sure.
And that is the tough reality of the work here. Even after all this TLC, half of these birds may not make it. There's a pelican morgue out back.
Can a bird like this survive? I mean, it's just so hard for me to think of this bird actually flying.
Now that
again.
he's in treatment, he'll survive. He's got a very good chance. He's in pretty good body condition. He's strong. He's still alert.
And as the oil keeps coming, so do the sick birds.
I mean, this is going to be a huge personal commitment. Why do you do this?
Because it's the right thing to do. We share the planet and we're screwing it up. And so it's my opinion that, we do what we can to make up for our mistakes.
I'm Yunji Denise for Nightline in Buras, Louisiana.